Centuries and centuries ago, we didn't have telescopes, modern day science, or even the understanding of how weather worked. So what did we do? We came up with the gods as a reason for many of our events that humans experienced. Then humans got curious. We believed using these materials that we found here on Earth that these must be related and connected to the great space above us, along with our human bodies. Now this practice was called alchemy, and while there isn't much left of alchemy today, we still have some symbols and artifacts that can tell us what we all need to know. Hey everyone, Dewey Stewart back and ready with a crazy interesting list today, because today we are looking at the top 10 signs of alchemy found in history. So get your time travel machines, get ready for that Throwback Thursday, and let's get to it. Starting us off at our number 10 spot is Mercury. Most of these things on our list today are actually quite literally signs of alchemy that have been used throughout history. Mercury is one of the 3 primes that are often used in alchemy, but they are also more commonly known as the Tria Prima. The 16th century Swiss philosopher Paracelsus believed that the 3 primes contained all of the major poisons that cause disease, and that by studying them, alchemists could find ways to cure those diseases. The Swiss philosopher also believed that the 3 primes defined humans, and he assigned each of the elements to a different part of the human identity. The first one being Mercury. This alchemy symbol represents the mind as well as the state that could transcend death. In ancient times, Mercury was believed to shift between liquid and solid states, which made many believe that Mercury could shift between life and death. It is often represented by a serpent or snake and is often believed to resemble the passive female principle. Now, as you can see, the upside down plus sign at the bottom is also seen in this female symbol for female. Coming in at number 9, we have salt, and I'm not talking about the movie Salt with Angelina Jolie, I'm talking about the substance. The second of the 3 primes is salt, and salt is of course well known now as a compound of sodium and chloride, but alchemists originally believed it to be a single element. Salt is said to represent the body as well as the physical matter generally, crystallization and condensation. Salt, however, is often quite impure, but luckily can be purified through chemical processes, and many alchemists compared this to the human body. Why? Well, the same way that a human body can be purified is the same thing that salt can do through similar practices. This symbol isn't as interesting as the other ones, as it is just a simple circle with a horizontal line through it, but it does kind of look like the middle part of the Deathly Hallows symbol, am I right? Do we think the 16th century philosophers were Harry Potter fans too, or is J.K. Rowling just really old? Coming in at our number 8 spot in the last of the 3 primes, we have sulfur. Sulphur was also known as brimstone and is the active male counterpart to the female principle Mercury. In antiquity, sulfur was used as a traditional medicine in many different places, all the way from China to Egypt to even Europe. It is mentioned in both the Torah and the Bible, and let it also be known that the Bible states that hell it actually reeks of sulfur. So for any of you bad guys out there, go take a whiff of this stuff now, because when you pass on, you know what, you won't be smelling no roses no more, okay? Sulfur is said to represent properties such as dryness, heat, and masculinity. But specifically in alchemy, it is also represented by evaporation, expansion, and dissolution. In terms of the human body, however, it represented the soul, which is why I guess hell just reeks of sulfur. It's all those bad souls just down there just reeking away. Now, this symbol has also become to be known as Satan's cross and is often seen as a satanic symbol. So that's pretty scary, but I'm not gonna worry because I'm a good boy. Coming in at our number 7 spot in the first of the 4 classical elements, we have air. The classical elements were believed to contain all of the matter in the world, and alchemists believed that these 4 elements had crazy superpowers that could create new elements. A medieval alchemist by the name of Jabir ibn Hayyan was one of the first people to connect the 4 elements with alchemy. The air symbol in alchemy also resembles a life-giving force and is often associated with the colors of white and blue. This one is feeling the exact opposite of sulfur if you ask me. And the infamous Hippocrates associated air with blood, probably because those are 2 substances that resemble life. At least that's Dewey Stewart's assumption. The air symbol is a triangle with a horizontal line running through it near the top, and if it doesn't look familiar, then just wait until we get to our next one. Coming in at our number 6 spot in the second of our 4 classical elements, we have earth. Remember that air symbol I was literally just talking about? Well, of course you do. Well, turn that symbol upside down and then you have the exact same symbol for earth. The great Aristotle labeled the earth as cold and dry. Oof, he must have lived in Canada for a while. But seriously, Earth was believed to resemble physical movements and sensations, and it was also associated with the colors green and brown. Once again, just an assumption, but probably because of the brown earthy color of our Earth as well as the beautiful green plants that cover our Earth's surface. I think that is a pretty safe and fair assumption. It was also said that it was associated with the humor black bile, which many people back in the day believed that every human being was filled with 4 humors or liquids. These liquids being blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. Coming in hot at our halfway point and at number 5, and third in our classic elements, we have fire. In alchemy, fire was always associated with passion, love, anger, and hate. Which of course, as many of us have probably heard before, these are considered fiery emotions. Have you ever been so angry that you feel flaming hot? Or so filled with warm love or even a fiery hate? Well, I don't know about fiery hate for myself, but I do know I felt a fiery love for any dessert I have ever seen. Whew! Is it hot in here or is it just me? Anyway, it was quite unsurprisingly represented by the colors of red, orange, as well as yellow. Quite specifically, the yellow bile that was believed to be found in all of us. Now, the fire symbol is just a simple triangle and is often seen as a masculine symbol, but come on, female identifying friends out there, no need to worry, you can be just as fiery as any of us if you want to be. Times have changed after all, am I right? Now, can you guess what the last classic element is on my list? Coming in at number 4, that's right, you guessed it, we have water. Aristotle labeled water quite appropriately as wet and cold. Wow, nothing got by that guy. He was supposed to be smart, right? Hippocrates also associated it with the last remaining humor known as phlegm. This symbol is often linked to the Mercury symbol as well as representing intuition and the color blue. Mercury and water are both seen as feminine, but I'm gonna raise my hand on that one as water is actually my favorite element, and for all of my male identifying peeps out there, you can love water and blue just as much as anyone, so go ahead, ask Aquaman. Yeah, exactly. What is really cool though is that the Greek philosopher Thales believed that water was the first substance that was ever created here on Earth. Now, the water symbol in alchemy is just an upside down triangle and the exact opposite of the fire symbol, which makes a lot of sense. It is also said to resemble a cup or an urn holding water too. Starting us off in our top 3, at number 3 is the 7 planetary metals. Yeah, I had to put all 7 in here because this is only a top 10 channel, not a top 17, but I digress. The 7 planetary metals are lead, tin, iron, gold, copper, mercury, and silver. Each of these metals are connected to a celestial object as well as a day of the week and an organ of the body. Astronomy was a major part of alchemy, and each planet was originally thought to rule over a specific metal with its position in the sky and proximity to other planets affecting each of the metal's properties. Lead's planet was Saturn and the day was Saturday, tin was Jupiter and Thursday, iron was Mars and Tuesday, gold was Sun and quite obviously Sunday, copper was Venus and Friday, mercury was obviously Mercury and Wednesday, and finally silver was the moon and Monday. Now you might notice that none of these alchemists include Neptune or Uranus, but back on track, that was because of all these symbols were created before the use of telescopes, and these were the only known planets to exist at the time. So we're going to need to update the practice of alchemy and give Neptune and Uranus some love, because right now, they're symbolless. Coming in at our number 2 spot, we have the mundane elements. The mundane elements make up the rest of the elements that are used in alchemy. Usually and typically, these are the elements that are more recent additions to the ancient practice, and as a result, less is actually known about these elements and what they actually represent. Now, that being said, here they are. We have antimony, arsenic, bismuth, magnesium, phosphorus, platinum, potassium, and zinc. Like I said, not much is known about these mundane elements as they are so new, but antimony is said to represent wild and animalistic parts of human nature. Other than that, the other symbols are all based on what these elements could actually do, as phosphorus was believed to have the ability to capture light, so its symbol is a triangle on top of a double cross. So there you go. Here are many of the signs and symbols found in alchemy, but where exactly would we find these symbols? Here's your answer. Well, that brings us to our number 1 spot, and coming in at number 1 we have the Physica Subterranea, which is an ancient book from 1738 written by German alchemist Johann Becker. There are many different books and pieces of art from centuries ago that teach us and give us clues into what alchemists attempted to do with their studies and knowledge. Many attempted to turn metals into gold, and others used it for medicinal and religious practices. However, in one interesting illustration in the Physica Subterranea titled "The Body as an Alchemical Laboratory," it depicts a human figure draped in animals and different materials with symbols surrounding them. To many, these symbols don't mean a thing, but to those trained in the history of alchemy, they know that these symbols codify formulas, elements, the planetary metals we all talked about, and other ingredients. David Braffman, the exhibit curator of The Art of Alchemy, said, "Alchemy was a science tinged with spirituality and infused with a spritz of artistic spirit. It wasn't just meant for turning metals into gold, but for many, it was also for different experiments, from spiritual to scientific experiments. Through alchemy came the birth of modern day chemistry, and thanks to those art pieces and books like these, and also all of those symbols, we are able to take a look into the beginning of human scientific education." There you have it. That has been the top 10 signs of alchemy found in history. What did you think? Do any of you know some cool alchemy facts? I will be honest, I knew next to nothing about alchemy coming into this video today. All I knew was was a book called The Alchemist, and I still have never even read that either. Anyway, let me know what you thought down in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, I have been your host, Dewey Stewart. I will see you all back here very soon. And until then, be good to yourself, friends, and bye-bye.